And we are live. Welcome back, YouTubers. I don't know what to really call our fans if we have any. But basically, we are back. The RPG Junkies is what we're calling ourselves.
Hmm?
I think we made that known in one of our previous videos. Anybody want to correct me on that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, then we're gonna go with yes. That's something we made known in the previous video. We are back with our introductory video to the End of the World Zombie Apocalypse. That's a game we're playing, but we will get to that in a minute. You have the famous GM, John, and if everybody would like, why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm playing myself, and I'm Reese. Of course, I forgot to put my lower third up, so if you've seen the Demon Hunters game, I play Fleur in that setting.
And our famous go-to guy that is gung ho and he gets out there is Camden. Of course, he plays Hugh in Demon Hunters too, but he died recently. Hugh's gone. Of course, Camden's got a new character. Oh yeah, played. Yeah, Hugh died. Yeah, you can see our Demon Hunters video on our channel too. And
Videos.
would our other member like to introduce himself?
My name is Cap, and in Demon Hunters I play the unappreciated Faye, who does most of the work, but nobody ever cares about it.
I swear to God, you're gonna milk that for everything you can get out of it, aren't you?
Of course I will.
Well, he is argumentative.
The thing that the game master has to put up with. Anyway, moving on. Well, those are the members. Like I said, our group is RPG Junkies, and the name of the game is the end of the end of the world zombie apocalypse. We are going to basically play sort of a simulation. I'm gonna play with my pen right in front of the camera. I don't know why I'm doing that. Anyway, basically play a zombie apocalypse campaign where we are ourselves. Even I'm gonna play. Um, where we're going to play ourselves and how we would act in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. A couple things we're going to explain the reasons for doing it. Basically, we're doing it because, well, from what we heard, it's a great game. Me personally, I'm going to play as the GM because apparently the GM can play in this game without metagaming because the rules are very, very restrictive and do not really. There's not a whole lot to it, honestly. But that's what I kind of like about it. So I get to play, and from what I've heard, the GM dies all the time first. And I've heard that across forums and a few other things, so I would like to see how that works out. I'm here to hopefully break the record. Probably not going to break the record. Anyone else got a reason for why we're doing this?
You're definitely not gonna break the record.
Because it's fun.
I don't think that's a reason, a cat, but okay. Anyway, all right.
I said because it's fun.
Yep, and we're doing it because it's fun. We're gamers, we're geeks like that. Okay, a couple things I'd like to cover. The Q&A section for this particular game. When we start, we will be starting the first game, possibly Sunday, the 19th, or earlier. Actually, we may do it earlier. If we do it earlier, we will try and give a couple days notice because this Wednesday we have our Demon Hunters campaign that we are currently doing. So watch the video on that. That'll be up later on that night when we're done. But the Q&A section for this game is going to be done a little bit differently. We are allowing the outside interaction, which mainly will allow people who are the viewers will be able to interact with us through the Q&A by giving us asking us questions, giving us suggestions about how to deal with certain things. We'll even allow what you call group interaction. Let's say you get a group together and you make a character for this campaign particularly. Well, just because you're not playing with us on here doesn't mean you're not having the same scenario. You're not going through the same thing somewhere else in another location of the area. And if you got questions like, well, hold up. So if no one in our group is the GM other than you, and we're playing along with you, how what happens if we invade a store? How do we figure out what we find, plus what we take on, plus the encounters and all that? Well, easily. You're going to pop all that in the Q&A section, and you will be answered how many. And that takes 5 seconds 5 seconds or longer for us to do, depending on how fast we typing can process. I can process pretty fast. And besides, it's mostly, like I said, a lot of the stuff about how we will handle this, we may not have a whole lot of encounters. Who knows? We don't know. I mean, it just depends. I'm new to the game. Everyone here is new to the game, so we're going to try something out that's new. And zombie apocalypse. Let's face it, that's popular. So, we will be taking requests. Let's say, for instance, your group wants to interact personally with us, or a single person wants to interact with our group. If we have a first come first serve rule, so the first request I see, if they still want to, by the time I get it, I take them first. Or basically, if you blow up my chat and we don't seem to, like for instance, let's say you said something first one time, but then another session this dude drops out and we have like 3 spots open, and you were like the last session, you were like the third one, and we remember you being the third one, and you said something last session or the session after that, or a couple sessions after that, we will eventually take you. We will write down your name, write down your username if you want to join up or something. We'll find a way to remember you and add you so that way you don't miss out, because that's important. We don't want anyone to miss out.
We want to make sure you have a camera though that you're willing to use.
Or mic. We will accept video and voice, or voice
video
only.
And voice.
We don't mind off-screen people. It's just we have a main player who does that. We respect that because he's actually part of the group. So let's not try and get so many of those people, because honestly, I can't look at group chat all the time, and neither can anybody else. So so that's pretty much, that would wrap that up. So if you want to join with us about how to play this game, you have all the information right there, and it will be posted. Plus, we have an Obsidian page, of which the link will be posted in one of the comments. So, and Candim says, sorry about that, all that, guys. It's just, well, it's not that you're special, it's just you're part of our group. And this is the video that we're doing. We're only allowing guest stars on here just because we want to simulate a real interaction of the zombie apocalypse. Just because, you are in the middle of the apocalypse don't mean you won't encounter another person, or another set of people. So we're trying to simulate that aspect of the game. Oh, okay. I guess he disconnected. Sorry about the apology. Whatever. Technical difficulties. Moving on. The next thing that we are moving on to is materials. You need pen or pencil, paper. Let me show you my notebook. Paper, or better yet, the character sheet. The next thing you need is you're going to need 2 different sets of dice, or 2 different colors. Like for instance, you have these ones right here, the original polyhedral D20, but these are D6s. They're different colors, so I can pick like 2 of these, because you're going to at least need 1 positive and 1 negative die. But for me, I feel like I'm going to use probably those for like my positive die if I have any, and then use like these ones. I got like 5 of them. Use these ones for my negative die. You need one for, you need a set for, a couple die for positive, a couple die for negative, and that's pretty much all you're going to need. Reese, would you like to take over for a minute, and anything anybody else would like to say real quick before we move on?
No, I'm wondering how we would do online dice. In case anyone wants to do that, like me, perhaps.
Online dice might be kind of hard. As Reese and I already tried this out. Online dice would be kind of hard to do because, for instance, we just have no ability. There's no way of really doing it, because you got to declare which set is your positive die, which set is your negative die, and it is recommended by the book to actually have 2 different sets of die, or 2 different colors, something that indicates, so that way you don't get confused. Because you can't just be choosing the bigger number as your positive and the smaller number as that. If for instance, you can say, well, my first number is going to be my positive, and my second number is going to be my negative. Well, sometimes your negative number is bigger. Reese, if you could, for instance, let's have you. I hate to actually do this. I know we're live and all, and I hate to do this, but I actually have to go off screen for a minute. So, Reese, if you'd like to explain a little bit about the game and maybe some of the scenarios that have been offered, can you go right ahead and do that before I excuse myself for a minute?
Okay. Pretty much, what you get with this game is a very rules-light, simple game. You get various scenarios with pretty much any kind of zombie apocalypse you can think of. You want fast zombies, you got them. You want Night of the Dawn of the Dead type scenario, there you go. Do you want a meteor shower to rain down and raise all the dead from their graves? You have that. Do you want voodoo zombies? Go ahead. Do you want a parasite that is millions of years old and will basically eat you from the inside out until it rots your brain and turns you into a zombie, and will even infect animals or turn animals? You got that too. So that's basically the settings. You got various things, timelines. Yeah, I'll screen share.
Okay, well, if you don't mind me taking back over, so that way we can
thank
press
you.
over things. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I did not mean to throw you out there, Reese. Technical difficulties. I had an emergency. I had something I had to look at. So, well, I'm just letting our viewers know and apologizing, and I may have to do it again. Okay, anyway, we're gonna move on real quick. The next thing we're gonna move on to is once you have your character sheet, how do you make a character? We're gonna show you guys how to make a character, and if Reese could be my great partner here, could you share a blank character sheet, or do you not have one?
I do not have one, but if you would be willing to share that in chat, I could get it.
The Dropbox has the blank master copy.
Okay, let me just go there and open it up.
Yep. He's gonna open up real quick, so folks, please hang on. It's not that we weren't prepared; we were, just some stuff decided to fall in our laps.
Okay, screen sharing now. See this, everyone? This is the character sheet.
Yep. Could you, is there any possible way you could zoom in to maybe make it bigger?
Let me see. Yes, I can zoom in now with this.
Alright, zoom in one more time.
Gotcha.
Okay, we're going to go step by step with you real quick, and let me make sure everything is on the go-ahead for my half of the section. Real quick, here we go. Alright, we're going to zoom in, we're going to go through this quick, step by step. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in on Reese's screen right here, so that way you're gonna hear me talk and you can see me in this little screen down here. But mostly we'll be looking at the character sheet. The first thing about your character sheet, the first thing you need to know about is honestly the game rules. We'll discuss the rule sets later, but the main rule set that I want to let everyone know about is we're putting our real selves in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. So try and be as much as realistic about who you really are as much as possible, but you don't have to share. That's what we kind of did, and that's because we're comfortable with the idea. But we put our real selves inside of the zombie apocalypse because we want to make this as realistic as possible. You don't necessarily have to do that. I just ask you to please do that because that'd be fair to everyone. Anyone can make a real bad character, but I mean, character that's badass and whatnot. Excuse my language, but yeah. The first step that you're going to need is your name. Now, what goes in your name box is pretty much your name if you're playing by. Yep, and you see the arrows right there is your name. It's basically your actual name. In the next section we have is you have three different types of attributes. You have physical, mental, and social. In your physical, you have dexterity and vitality. Your dexterity is your offensive. Dexterity is your coordination and general motor skills. Balance, speed, and grace are all governed by dexterity, of course. And then your vitality is your defensive. Vitality is your physical strength and toughness. It determines the element of your character, ranging from how much weight you can lift and how well you resist disease and toxins. That also includes zombie virus. Okay. Your next set is your mental. You have logic, which is also your offensive. That's what the sword and the shield mean. I should maybe have explained that so I don't have to say this all the time. But as you see, each section has swords and shields. Your sword is your offensive, your shields are your defensive. They are separated. Logic. Logic is your awareness of your surroundings and ability to think on your feet. If you're hacking into a secure computer system or noticing an ambush, logic is characteristic you're using. Willpower represents your memory and mental resilience. Everything from resisting the horrors of the world to recalling specific information from years ago uses willpower. Basically cause, flashbacks. We could have a few flashbacks about the pre-apocalypse. Next, you have your charisma. Charisma is a generally demeanor and social skills. It governs how easily you can use words and actions to sway others, whether through careful negotiations or harsh threats. Empathy. Empathy is your ability to understand and sympathize. Sorry, I am reading this if you guys are knowing on a different set real quick. Sympathize with others. From determining whether someone is lying or predicting an adversary's next move, it can be very useful. Of course that can be very useful. I mean, you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, you don't want to, figure out who's a liar. Okay, each attribute starts at 1, regardless. You automatically get 1 point in each attribute. So they automatically start at 1, and you can mark that on the character sheet. Then you get 10 points to distribute among the other, to distribute to up each one from 1 to whatever one you want. Like, the dexterity go from like 1 to 3, vitality 1 to 2, logic 1 to 4. Point is, you only get 10 additional attributes on top of the 6 that you already get for starting at 1. So altogether, if you want to know how much you got, this is how I do it. 16 is the number, because you automatically start off with 1 in each one, which is 6 points, and then you get an additional 10. Nothing can be 0. If you're at 0, if you're physically at 0, you're physically not moving. If the mental's at 0, you are not mentally thinking. You're a vegetable, and socially, nothing can be at 0. It all has to be at 1. So that's automatically 6 points. You get 10 additional points to distribute. So in the end, when you add up all the numbers that you have, it should come to 16. No more, no less than 16. Once you have all that assigned, the next thing you have is your features. Each character starts off with 1 positive and 1 negative feature to begin the game. You have your physical features. Reese, do you think you can take over on this real quick?
Yeah, I can take over on this.
All right. I will be back momentarily. If you have any issues, just tell them sorry for the technical difficulties, and we'll be right back.
Okay. Hold on. I'm going to be sharing my character sheet. Because it seems a bit easier. Okay. So, features are, if anyone has played Fate, these are essentially aspects. They help you get a bonus or a negative to your roll. For example, I have Crackshot. That would apply to helping me shoot well. Conversely, a physical feature of mine is wheat allergies. So, whenever I'm scavenging for food or something like that, gotta watch out for wheat. Mental features are pretty much the same. You have well-read and avoids math. Those are my mental features. Social features are poker face, because I tend not to show emotion, so I'm quite good at lying. And anxiety. I don't like to be in big groups. So that is features, and I've explained pretty much what they are. I mean, they apply to certain situations. They're not like, they don't apply to everything. So that's about it. Just wait for John to get back now. I apologize for technical difficulties.
Yep, sorry about that, everyone. I just had to get off screen for a quick minute. That is really unprofessional of the GM. You know, when we do live broadcasts, that does not usually happen. Of course, if you see our other videos, you will see that being true. Those are a few examples of features. Features are like aspects, and a sense in the rules of the Fate Core. So basically, think of it like that. There are a few examples of. Hang on, let me pull them up. I can share this accurately. Oh crap! Sorry. Okay. You have positive and negative features. Each feature, you got one positive for physical, mental, and social, and one negative for physical, mental, and social. Okay. Something for physical is like a positive physical, or a positive physical. Something like distance runner, weightlifter, very flexible, martial artist, crack shot, iron stomach, or even a good one is maybe good eyes or canine hearing. Something where you hear really well, better than anybody else, or you have really good eyesight, good sense of smell. Those are basically perceptive ones that would count as physical. You can make up your own physical, of course, but you will have to define it. So that way it's not all powerful or whatever. Okay, then you got your mental positive features, which is basically a human calculator, someone who's a mathematician. Tireless reader, someone who doesn't tire out, can read for hours on end. Nursing degree, Eagle Scout, well-read. What well-read would be, in my aspect, is someone who can read other people well and know that there's a bit of a problem. World traveler, even basically traveling the world. Or scavenger. Scavenger would be a good one. You have no problem scavenging and leaving people for dead, or you have no problem scavenging and stealing from others. That you do have to be okay mentally with in order to do. Some social ones are always smiling, snapping dresser, excellent liar, wheeler and dealer, natural leader, and extremely attractive. I mean, like I said, these are only examples. You can come up with your own. A good social one is never stop talking, or something like that. Good positive. Someone who likes to talk. Moving on to negatives. Here's some negative examples, and Reese was showing you some of these examples. For physical negative, you have allergies, sedentaries, bad luck, very nearsighted, injured eardrum, weak stomach. An injured eardrum would probably be a problem if you're trying to hear. Also, no tongue or something, or you got like physical injury would be like you took a stab wound into the liver and it hurt, basically something like that. Mental features are basically voids math, no sense of direction, easily bored. You got easily bored, prone to distraction, easily surprised, compulsion, addiction, just a number of things. And social features, basically anxiety, too on, all negative, of course. Anxiety, too honest, short-tempered, easily pressured, terrible liar, and misanthrope is that one, but I go with lack of a better term, quiet guy or something like that. Not very social. Basically, our buddy Camden asked about if I would say that that is trauma, actually. That is a trauma, and that's something you have to overcome every day. Speaking of which, and if Reese could share the character sheet again for me.
Just a minute.
Yep. Again, we do apologize. This was not supposed to happen. We had this rehearsed too, believe it or not. And just other things get in the way.
Okay. Want me to
Okay.
share my character sheet or?
No, the blank one.
Okay. And go back to that.
Yes,
Sorry,
it's something
everyone.
you have to overcome. It is a social trauma. You have, you know. Sorry, guys. I was answering for Camden, our screen partner. Each trauma comes in 3 different categories: physical trauma, mental trauma, and social trauma.
Dang it, that's the wrong one.
That could even be a physical trauma necessarily, but I'm not 100% sure about that. You'd have to look that up. And the traumas are listed on your sheets. Now, each trauma you can resist. Each trauma eventually leads into physical stress too, mental stress or social stress. And when you finally stress out to a certain point, certain things happen. For physical stress, parts of your physical body start to shut down. Social stress, you become antisocial, and people become leery of you. And mental stress is, once you sustain all the possible mental stress that you can, you become psychologically insane. That's how it is formed. Actually, if he scrolls down a little bit, we pretty much had Reese's face the whole time because I never clicked off the screen and my computer's the one recording. Sorry about that, Reese. Didn't mean to make you the center of attention.
No, it's cool.
All right. Basically, yes, you get your physical stress, your stress and your resistance, your trauma. That's what goes there. They're marked at 1, 2, and 3 severity. 3 being the worst, 1 being the best. And basically, how you do it is 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. 1, 2, 3. And basically, that's all it is. You come up with a few traumas. It can be anywhere from physical, like broken legs, burns, mental, being some fears, fear of height, phobias, amnesia, even, and social, basically how other social things are, like you're popular, you're not, or disassociation from reality. Clearly you have some issues. There's really not many examples used on these. Pretty much it's just your daily problems. Like for instance, I have asthma. That's a physical trauma I have to overcome like once a month. My asthma's not that bad though. Mine's pretty weak. But I do have a distrust in people. I don't like people, which is weird. Why I'm playing a role playing game then. But that's the way I look at it, and I put that in my character for this game. Our next thing is equipment. You don't start off with any guns. If you can't see yourself carrying it to any location, then you don't have it. Period. And then if you do have it, you have to have a license for it. Sorry, pre-apocalypse. You have to still follow the laws until the apocalypse happens. But the apocalypse happens during. You will play during startup from 0 hour on up through the apocalypse. And basically, your equipment is what you can see carrying on you at that exact time. For instance, me, a cell phone, an inhaler, a pen and paper, or a duffel bag. Me personally, I use cell phone and inhaler because where we're going to a public place. So basically, that's what we would have. The weapons come later when you're in your building and you see your surroundings. Basically, you go throughout the building when you originally start, and you lay everything down in front of you, all your resources of your possible weapons. Basically, that's how that is played out. So that's pretty much. Huh? Oh yeah. I think that is. I think that is how we pretty much. That's pretty much how to make a character. That's how we start. The next thing we will discuss. If you guys didn't get that, you should be able to go over the video. I mean, it's really simple. If you have any questions, you can post on the video, on the YouTube video, and we will fully answer them as soon as we see them. Our next thing is to discuss the rule set. Now, the rule sets, I will only share certain rules with you that is possible to pull off if you survive long enough, or something that you're going to know about. Because whether you know about it now before the game starts, or when I make it known, it does not matter. Does not matter. It does not affect the game at all. It doesn't even call it metagaming at that point. Like I said, metagaming is very limited in this. Very limited, and that's not my choice. That's the book. So they made a sound book here. This game seems pretty sound to me. The game rules are simple as this. It's basically We're gonna start off with the basic ones. Basically, it is, you know, campaign type is ongoing survival. It's called survival rules. We will keep playing until there's only one person in the group. Now, the one person in the group we'll say what he does later, but the one person in the group that survives will actually make a roll to see how many more days he survives by himself, if anything. We're not going to act that out or anything like that in case it's the GM. No, I'm kidding. In case it's the GM, I am still on Reese. Oh my god. Sorry, man.
It's okay.
Yep. Ah, man. I do apologize to our viewers. But basically, the last person standing, we will just make a roll, or we will see how the outcome unfolds. But we're not going to continue playing if there's only one person in the group. So, but basically, it's campaign, ongoing survival. Progression is in-game day-to-day. Unless you're doing something that takes up a couple days to a couple weeks, I'm not going to have you react all that out. Maybe some of it, but not all of it. Not going to care. So it's like if you're doing this, then I'm not going to really be hard. You can have daily, you can take out a few zombies, here and there. It's not like there are many hordes or whatever. So basically, yeah, I'm not going to really, care. So we will progress throughout the weeks. Probably pretty quickly too, depending on how it is. Maybe not so quickly. We haven't quite figured out. Basically, I answered my own question about downtime. In case anyone would ask, is there downtime? Yes, that's basically what that was. Talking about where, if you're doing something, I'm gonna give you a little bit of downtime where you don't actually come in contact with anybody on that spectrum. Characters are yourselves, and the purpose is for simulation intent. Basically see how we would act as ourselves in a zombie apocalypse. The next thing I would like to discuss real quick before anything else is location features. Locations got their own features, both positive and negative, that affects the encounter rates. For instance, if a location is isolated, depending on what the isolation is, there's probably several things. It will be affected by 5%. Everything is injected by percentile. So basically, yeah. If you're on an island, depending on how far that is and how far away from the infection, that's all. How far it is from the main infection zone, how far it is from infection and the likelihood of infection, plus a few other things. Each one of those those are features I just named off on my finger. So 5, 10, 15, 20. The encounter rates went down 20%. Like I said, see how easy that works? Even, like, say, the island you gated off, that counts as, like, I'd probably give, like, 2 points, because, 10% for that, because it's gated off, plus it's in the ocean. So, alright, we're going to discuss the rule sets here. I'm probably going to reveal everything to you anyway, I haven't quite figured that out. Patient 0 is active. What that means is nobody picked off patient 0 yet. So we have a chance to encounter patient 0. Yay, that's not something anyone really wants to do. Patient 0, if you are bit or injured by patient 0 in any way, shape, or form, you are infected and there's no way of saving you. You will die and come back in 5 hours. That is the rule. What we call the rule of infected primes. There are currently 8,000 infected primes. What those are is that those are the infected, the people that patient 0 personally bit. So there's like a lot of them. A very high chance of seeing a few of them, and they have special abilities. Of course, you can all see this on our Obsidian portal page, which we will post that in comments. Because if you're playing along and I say, well, you have this many infected primes or this many infected in there, you got to see which one you're looking at, so that way you're not looking at the wrong one. Can the virus be resisted? Yes. And, the resistance would be a willpower plus a feature, both positive and negative on both sides. If you have a positive and negative one that can help you or hurt you, it has to be counted. Virus period, like I said, it takes 5 hours all it needs is 5 hours to incubate before it takes you completely. Hacking off limbs, if, like, say, for instance, one of us becomes infected and we get bit on our leg or hand, we can hack off our limbs, and but you have to do it within 6 minutes. If if you see someone for like 10 minutes, then it doesn't matter how many limbs you hack up. You'd have to kill them. They're too far gone. It only honestly it takes 6 minutes at most for anything to get through your bloodstream. So once infected, it only takes 6 minutes before the virus is coursed throughout your entire body. We have two other rules. It's called add infected primes, which once per session I will roll a d20, and that's how many infected primes will be added to the bunch. I will, of course, that's something that I won't be telling everybody about. How many's left and how many's dealt with. How many more do we have and how many not. The way we get rid of that rule is that if someone kills off patient zero is the only one who can make infected primes. We will discuss those later. Subtracted infected primes means, these rules are in play. Both the addition and the subtraction is in play to simulate a live, actual world. Okay, just because we didn't encounter them doesn't mean it didn't happen. It probably happened somewhere else. It's a live event. We've got actually a technique that we're going to use for the first time about this. So yeah, and then we have percentile dice, which will be used to distinguish whether or not patient zero is still alive each session. It'll be each session. So if the roll is good enough, then patient zero got picked off by some group, whatever. But then that also indicates that the infected prime will no longer be made. Basically, this is how the virus level goes. You have 0, 1, and 2. Virus level 0 is patient 0, basically. The clean, most pure strain of the virus. That thing is strong. Okay. Then you have virus level 1. You have I will cover that in a minute. Camden, he asked a really good question.
Sorry.
Oh, excuse you. Virus level 1 is infected primes. Once again, strong. Not the purest. Strain. It's been diluted a little bit, but I mean, it's going to be diluted as it passes down. Then you have 2, virus level 2, which is just your basic infected. The most common type of zombies you will actually encounter. The zombie names are basically patient 0, infected primes, and infected. That's from the worst type of zombie you want to face to the best type of zombie you might want to face, if you had a choice. Patient 0, if patient 0 has infected you, you cannot resist it. The infection. You will die in 5 hours no matter what. It is potent, and you will become an infected prime. Now, an infected prime or infected you can fight it to the point of immunity. Now, the way the immunity will work is if you will take physical stress. You will take physical stress of the infection, and you will have like 1 or 2. Now, when you reach 3, the infection takes you. Let's say, for instance, you go 2 in on physical stress under the infection, under the physical stress on the character sheet, and you heal both points of physical stress. And then, let's say, maybe a week goes by and it starts to heal. Then you're pretty much immune to the virus because the virus is in you, but you're fighting it off day by day. The trauma, and it will actually grant you the infection trauma, which you will have to deal with day by day for at least a little while. I will tell you when that's pretty much over, but you can fight it. And if you can't, pretty much you are infected, so on and so forth. And basically, you can outlive. Now, everyone asks me, will the zombie apocalypse, the most common question is, will the zombie apocalypse last forever? No. Patient 0 has a lifespan, not very long, so if you outlive a certain amount of time in this apocalypse, then he dies naturally, along with infected primes and infected. And once we get to that point, once we get to the max out, once the infected starts to die, there is no more patient 0, there's no more problem with that section, and then there's no more infected primes, and there never will be. But by the time we elapsed a certain amount of time, in this apocalypse adventure, there will be a little bit of infected, but not much. Not much to deal with. It's not something that we'll have to worry about day by day. So you have the pre-apocalypse, which is what's going to, which is your daily life. Then you have the apocalypse, which is what I just explained to you that you're going to have to deal with in the game survival rules. Now, once you survive that, if anyone manages to survive that, we move into what you call post-apocalypse, the life after the apocalypse, life after everything. So we basically have that going on. And we will jump into that probably in another video, kind of like an introductory video, kind of like this one. once we make it to that point, because there is, let's put it to you this way, it'll take 4 years in game time before we make it to a post-apocalypse. So 4 years, and we're playing day by day. Yeah, it could take us a while to get there, and we may not even make it. So before we even get any further into that, we will go with that. Now, there's two ways you can kill a zombie in this universe. There's only two ways, maybe more, depending if you want to drag it out. Headshots are an automatic kill, or you could rip out their heart. You have to rip out their heart, you have to sever the arteries, and then they will bleed out naturally and then die off. Or you can rip out their heart and shoot them, and they still die off. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Are they sensitive to light, and are they afraid of fire in any way?
No, they actually have no fear.
Okay.
They are attracted, if anything, they're attracted to sound, light, anything. They're attracted to everything. Possible food source, so they will more than likely come after you.
Do they have night vision?
Huh?
Do they have night vision?
I'm going to say no. That's not even a feature on them, and you can see that on the Obsidian Portal page.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the rules. Now, I've explained all the rules, the game rules, exactly what's going to happen. I mean, it's like I said, there's no way to metagame this. I've checked. I mean, you could try, and I will overrule you regardless. And that's to my players plus any people in the Q&A. I mean, there's just no way around it. It's pretty much you are trying to survive the apocalypse and make it to the post-apocalypse, and then we get to see how far you get to survive in the post-apocalypse. Because just because the apocalypse is over and you're in the aftermath of the apocalypse does not mean that the terrors of the results of those current events, are gone. There is an aftermath to all this, and then we see how long we survive in that. Which could, this game could last forever, but I don't see it happening. Like I said, the record of GMs playing as actual characters and being the first one to die is really almost 100%. So I'm here to break that record, but don't know if it's going to really work out. And then the other players I've heard stories of people dying within 2 hours, 8 hours, and we're talking 2 hours after gameplay. We're talking like they played for an hour, but they had 8 hours in game time pass by for an hour. Like, I haven't seen anyone so far make it last more than one session. Everything they've done has been a one shot, but was attempted to do multiple, but everyone died. Which we have no idea how this is going to work out. We're very excited to do it. We're welcoming our viewers. We're welcoming people who want to be there and do the Q&A. We told you how to make a character the best we can, the best we're given in the book. So, anything else anyone else want to say?
I was wondering, once we get to a certain point where we've survived long enough that day-to-day existence is kind of boring, or we've gathered enough supplies, survivors, whatever, to not exist day-to-day, would we skip ahead like a year, 2, 3?
You would fast forward to the point, like, basically, if you manage to fortify yourself in an area where the infected, patient 0, or even the infection, whatever's left over at that point, let's say patient 0 is dead and all that is infected, or infected primes, but you fortified yourself perfectly against it, where day-to-day is just a thing, you will fast forward to a problem that I will present. Like, say, for instance, if anyone's seen, for instance, if you're at a prison, I know I'm using this from a TV show, I get it, but I mean, I'm using this as an example. But you have all this infected rushing the fence. Eventually the fence will break down, give them enough force. But it would take a few days to a few weeks to do it, maybe a month. So we would fast forward that, where we won't play day to day. That's something I actually already mentioned. If you do something that, that's called downtime. If you do something that requires a certain set of time, we will fast forward that time.
But can't you also take precautions to, like, limit the activity of infected finding out about you?
Oh, well, yeah, that's totally up to you and the group.
And like, you could also set up watchtowers.
Yep. Well, again, that's up to you and the group, and that's your resources will be presented. Do you have a list of the features? Camden, the features are something that you can think of. There is a list of examples, but
Examples.
there's not actually any features. It's like aspects. It's something you make up and you give it a name, and it either helps you or hurts you. But anything else anyone want to say? I don't think Ironical's here anymore. He had to skip out for a moment. And that's pretty much about it. Join us on. Now, we're planning to do this on Sunday the 19th, but we may do it sooner because this seems like a pretty fun game to play. But right now, I don't know how soon we will do it because we have on the 15th, this Wednesday, we have our Demon Hunters game, the story of Chapter Row 1. You can see our past videos on our channel. So, yeah, any other announcements anyone's got?
Something will be happening to Fleur.
Ah, yeah, a little sneak peek there. Something will happen to Fleur. Something's happened to Jason. If you watched the last video, you guys can probably guess what. And something's and as a GM, I do know that something's going to happen to the group. That's going to affect the group as a whole. Once again, I love these big events. Oh yeah, and Camden's got his new character, and we will reveal what that is on Wednesday. So if you want to know what's going on, you either show up on Wednesday or watch the video after it's posted. I mean, we ain't gonna reveal too much about Demon Hunters on this particular video. This is the game that we're playing. It's called the End of the World Zombie Apocalypse. Yep, and the Q&A will be open. As I said, you guys can make your own group. If you guys don't have the book, like I said, told you how to make a character. You know, the campaign I free wrote. I did take it from Pandemic a little bit and made some minor changes to it, but basically, I free wrote our starting position and everything else. So yeah, you can put your starting position in the same location that we are and say, oh yeah, we run together. Hey, can we join you on your recordings and whatnot? Because we will record the video and put it on YouTube. That's why we're doing this. So if you have no problem with that, yeah, we'll put you like right on there with us, and we'll interact. And if your group doesn't work out with our group, then pretty much we will dismiss you because obviously you guys won't travel with us. That's pretty much how it is. And like I said, first come first serve unless you've posted first above everyone else several times. But by the time we get down to you, we've already got a full house because we're only allowed maybe 8 people on a Google Hangout. I'm not trying to bog down any servers or anything like that. So basically, we will make records of all this so that way we make sure everything's fair. Pretty much that is, make sure everything's fair, make sure everything's fun, make sure you guys have a good time, you have a good time watching us. Basically, here's what we're planning to do. We are going to try and survive the apocalypse and see if we can do it. And we're going to see how long we can make it, and let's hope we can make it. So, see you guys there.
See ya.